Greetings, good morning, and welcome to another Monday morning Clive Live-ish. We are really super excited today because we've crossed the borders, we've crossed international borders. We are taking you over to South Africa this morning on this lovely Monday morning. Thank you last week to Grace and Julia for that incredible session, which has inspired us to really up the ante here. We're really enjoying these lives, aren't we, Jude? Good morning, Jude.
Good morning. How are you, Clive?
I'm very well.
We're going next level, Clive. It's amazing.
I don't know about you, but my jet lag's really kicking in. Just keep going all the way over to South Africa. You know,
we are today. Yeah, we're traveling. We're going international.
That Indian Ocean is a lot bigger than I imagined. But anyway, it's good to be here. Anyway, we have got a very special show for you today, as always. We have got, as I mentioned, we're traveling to Johannesburg, South Africa, and we have got the one and only Chase Meakin, who some of you may have met last year when he travelled over to Melbourne. He did a live. I was very fortunate to be there and meet the incredibly talented young man, and we're super excited to have him on the show today. Anyway, I've been dying to say this all day long, but let's just cut to the chase. Drum roll, please, McGregor. Please welcome to the show, Mr. Chase Meakin. How are you, sir?
How are you guys? Very well, and yourself?
Should we say the South African for good day is Azit, my man.
Azit, my brew.
Brew, that's it. Mate,
Yeah.
It is so great to see you again. And what a lot has happened since we last saw each other in Melbourne. You know, who'd have thought, eh? But what we're going to do to start off with, if you don't mind, and just tell us, those of our viewers that didn't get to see you, just give us a brief background of who you are and your brief background in hairdressing. Once I can spit those words out, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Clive. Thanks, Judi, for having me on your little show, on your live-ish. It's actually quite
little. It's a big show. No, it's great, man. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Chase Meakin from Johannesburg, South Africa. I've lived in Africa my whole life. I've been a hairdresser for 30 years. I have, about a year ago, joined the Muk team and been lucky enough to become one of the guest artists as well. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot of things with you guys. I did obviously come over, I think it was early this year, not late last year. So, and met all of you guys, did all the training. We were going to set up a lot of training to do here in South Africa. But obviously the COVID story has put us all on a little bit of the back burner. But we've got a lot planned for when we eventually get back to normal. I believe you guys in Melbourne right now are on hairdressing lockdown as well. So we had 15 to 16 weeks of lockdown, which was tough, but it gave me a lot of time to do a lot of thinking, a lot of sorting out, preparing, marketing, and getting ready for the new normal.
Wow, 16 weeks. It's a long time.
Wow, sure is. And I can't believe, Chase, that as you said, you were here in February, and yes. It just, you know, the difference in the world between February to now is just incredible, and what we've all gone through is phenomenal. And you touched on that, the fact that you made the move to Muk with the team, the fabulous team there, David and Michelle and Candy and the great team of Muk South Africa.
Yes.
And you made that decision, and after being sort of with another company for a long time and also working as a global educator for them as well. So tell us about, you know, that process and how you came to be part of making that decision and joining the team there in South Africa.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for the question. So I was part of also a global artistic team for 13 years for a very well-known brand. And I was quite loyal to that brand, as I've always been a sort of a loyal person to the people that take care of me. But Michelle and Dave from Muk here in South Africa, I've known Dave personally for about 25, 30 years. They did approach me and said to me that they'd love to have me on the team and love me to obviously stock. A little bit hesitant at first because, you know, when you get stuck in a rut. You get used to your brand and you're loyal to your brand. So we got a couple of Muk products in, sort of the colors and that. I started to play around with them, and within a couple of weeks, I just decided this is a brand that I definitely want to be part of. It was a little bit confusing to me at first that basically one color has 6 different purposes or six different uses in one tube. That was a little bit for me to get my head wrapped around. But then when I did decide that I was going to move to the Muk family, we had a big meeting, we discussed it, everything ran extra smoothly. The transition to Muk from my other brand, within basically 2 days, my shop was up and running fully with Muk. All the visuals came within a week. The support that I've had from the team, and besides just the support, the actual product itself, I've had incredible results with. I've had better gray coverage, longer lasting colors, less sensitivity. And as a salon owner, the biggest thing for me was it's extremely cost effective, but still a world-class product. So I definitely cannot fault them. I should have made this move a long time ago, but I'm glad to be on the new team with Muk, and I'm loving every single minute of the colors, the retail range, the styling aids, the family feeling. When I came to meet you guys all in February this year in Australia, I just felt like I had always been part of your guys' family, from meeting the owners of the company to the marketing company, the marketing division, right down to the educational side of things, spending time with Clive. I really felt like I'd always been part of your guys' family. So thank you for that as well. But I'm absolutely loving the brand.
Same goes in reverse. As I said just before we came on, I've just come from the office, and Scott and Janelle and everyone at the office, just again, pass on their best wishes and feel exactly the same about and loved having you again. It just feels like you've always been part of Muk as well, so it's very much goes both ways, and it's really great to get that feedback from your business and the way that it's impacted in your business, in having the great results that you're having. It can be a big scary thing to do after all that time, so it's fantastic as a salon over the impact that changing to Muk colour has had, and that's been really successful for you.
Yeah, I can definitely
really happy.
I mean, I like you, Chase. I run a business, and definitely the profitability side of Muk. I mean, apart from the fact you need it to do everything you need it to do, and if not better than what you've used before, definitely that's been the case that we've found. But from a business standpoint, it just made complete commercial business sense to do that. So yeah, and it was great hanging out with you. And my apologies, I thought it was late last year. I didn't think I'd been anywhere this year, but obviously there's a part of this year that has just been voided from my mind. So my apologies for that. But one of the things that I wanted for our audience to understand, and I've been very fortunate to travel to South Africa various times throughout my career in a previous life, and apart from it being an incredible country, the salon situation is very different to what you would find in most other countries. And what I mean by that is, that when I've traveled sort of extensively through South Africa, and the salons are either in a shopping centre that's heavily armed guarded, as for one respect, and or they're in these most incredible, may I say, like compounds in the suburbs. Like, it's not like you can just go to Oxford Street in Paddington or Chapel Street in Melbourne and wander down the street and just walk into a salon. It is a different situation, isn't it? And so can you just give our viewers a little bit more of an insight into how that works?
Okay, so yes, the one thing I did notice when I was in Australia is most of the salons over there seem to be destination salons. So it's not generally that they're inside a big shopping center. Here, there's a lot of salons in your major shopping centers. I think we have more shopping centers here than you guys have through the whole of Australia. It seems to be quite a thing here. Well, things are going to be changing with this corona, definitely. And then as my own salon, which is also a destination salon, as you say, we're in a Boomdorf sort of estate. So my salon is a house that's being converted into a salon. We have upstairs and downstairs. full beauty salon upstairs, and then 220 squares of hair salon downstairs. But yes, we are in a boomed up environment with cameras. I have a security guy at the gate. All the doors are locked. We have armed response, which will be over within 5 minutes, panic buttons. So things are a little bit different in South Africa, most definitely.
That was definitely what I noticed, when they took me around to different salons. And the salons are incredible. I mean, whether they'll be in a shopping centre or, in, as you say, almost like its own estate. They're incredible. But yeah, it's a very different world. Very different world.
Definitely.
And
but that's all I know. So, I don't know any different. So for me, it's the norm.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. So Chase, your salon, how many operators do you have, and where, tell us a bit about the salon, the type of work that you guys do in South Africa. Do you kind of have a particular demographic that your salon focuses on, or do you sort of cover everything, or how does that work?
With myself in particular, I have sort of a little bit of an older clientele. Also, I've been in the industry for 30 years. So I've got some clients that have been with me since the beginning. I've got clients that are celebrating their 28 years with me, 25 years with me. So I have a slightly older clientele, so a little bit more commercial. I don't really get to do artistic work in the salon. As we know, artistic work doesn't really sell. It doesn't really make money. But we do have the odd clients that are coming in that really want something funky and edgy. With my staff, I have quite a sort of diverse staff as well. One of my head stylists who works for me here, he's got long dreadlocks down his back. He's a real hippie child, but extremely talented when it comes to doing edgy, sort of funky type of work. Most of the time when I get to do edgy, funky type of work, it's when I'm doing stuff for companies such as you guys. South Africa is a little bit more of a conservative kind of market. Unfortunately, we don't get to do a lot of the vivids. Like when I was over there, I saw a lot of people walking around with some really crazy, funky sort of hairstyles. We don't get to do that here. In the salon, as we stand at the moment, I have 4 qualified hairdressers, and we have 3 operators or sort of shampooists. 2 of them are apprentices that are going to be obviously qualifying in the salon. And the one lady is an African lady. She's been with me quite a few years now. My clients love her too, but she's my assistant. She's my personal assistant. She doesn't work for anybody else because I'm the busiest stylist in the shop. But my clients have all gotten to know her, love her. Her massages, she's amazing. But so on a daily basis, I'm generally doing most of my clientele. I'd say 80% to 85% of my clientele are sort of 55 and older. So sort of quite comfortable money-wise. I like those kind of clients because they're big spenders in my shop. If I show them a range of products, they take it immediately. There's no sort of second thought there. So I love my older clientele, but unfortunately, I'd love to be doing a little bit more edgy, funky work.
Yeah. But, as you say, they're the clients that pay, and, it's great. I mean, it's a really, really good, solid clientele to have.
Yeah, and congratulations on having clients for 28 years. That's fantastic. That's a lot of conversations in 28 years. I mean, you've basically seen their kids grow, their grandkids and all that kind of stuff. And, it's one of the downsides, I think, of being a salon owner. And the longer we are in the business, obviously we keep upping our prices and we are the most expensive in the salon. And unfortunately, that cuts off a whole demographic for us in regards to the young, trendy, that young clientele that we all grew up on. I tend to my clientele now is definitely a bit more relaxed in the pocket when it comes to spending, but there's definitely an older age bracket that goes with that. So talking about that, what inspires you? Because I know that, I love doing classic graduations and, one length bobs, as we've all sort of seen on the lives and all that kind of stuff. But what inspires you? Where's your go-to as such? Is it online or whatever it is? How do you be inspired, or is it your clients that inspire you?
So there's a combination of things that inspire me, but I think as hairdressers, we are very emotional and also very visual. So we steal with our eyes. We can look with our eyes and basically assess something and sort of tell what kind of situation we're in. So definitely for me, going through Instagram, and on Facebook and that sort of thing, and looking at, and not just generally the run-of-the-mill type of haircuts, looking at how something is executed, the cleanliness of the color, the cleanliness of the cutting, not just something that's thrown together, something that's actually really been thought out a lot of, and generally something unique. Those are the things that inspire me. And then, generally I'll save those into a folder somewhere. So when a client comes in and she's like, oh, I was thinking of like, as you were saying, a one length bob. I mean, there's so many different variations of a one length bob. So I do sort of tend to keep those aside for when the clients come in. But when I say that as well, like visually, as a hairdresser, I think we work every single day of our lives surrounded by music. So if I'm ever doing a hair show or something like that, the first point where I start would be my music. I choose the music that I want, and then from there, I visualize exactly what I'm going to be doing, the cut, the color, everything that goes with that. So I'd say at the end of the day, music is probably more inspiring to me as a hairdresser than anything visually.
Yeah, amen. I can totally relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Chase, we're really thrilled to have you joining the online education, speaking of education, and we couldn't be happier to have your first session coming up this week on Thursday. So why don't you give us an insight into what we're going to be seeing with your online education?
Okay, so with the online education videos that I've just done recently, I was a little bit behind with everything, just trying to sort of, get through again this COVID story. But I'm also trying to create something that would be sort of user-friendly to most of the hairdressers out there when it comes to the cut and the color. Something that they can recreate in the salon, something that's a little bit more commercial rather than something too edgy. We could do some edgy stuff. Maybe we will throw some of that in there every now and then for the hairdressers. But basically, I'm trying to create content, color techniques and cutting techniques that can be used very simply in the salon, can be recreated easily, and nothing that's too edgy at the moment. But like I say, every now and then I'd like to definitely throw something a little bit funky and edgy in there for you guys. But what you're going to be seeing coming up is going to be simple but very well executed, and just something thinking a little bit out of the box.
Yeah, great. And I think that's really, that's kind of very much the benchmark that we all try to work towards as far as education goes, because, and something that's, incredibly avant-garde is amazing to look at, and we love to look at as creatives. But as far as our everyday, we really try to make sure that what we're doing is relevant to, as a hairdresser, being able to look at it online and go into the salon the next day and actually do that in the salon, or that afternoon they can actually, put into practice some of that. So we really appreciate your, concept of doing that and making sure that it is very commercially friendly.
And I think that's a really great point as well. Like you mentioned that you have a file and folder where you put stuff in to show your clients. I mean, I know that there are so many different styles to hairdressing. There's people that just focus on vintage hairdressing. There's people that focus on up styles like your Sharon Blaines or your Lorna Evans or all that kind of stuff. I mean, is there a go-to? I mean, if I'm looking through social media, there's always people that if I'm looking for inspiration, I'll go to YouTube to look at Cutler as well, and or John Baptiste Mazzella or Dove Palmer or someone like that, because I'm a hair cutter. Do you find that who you following on social media into like your kind of groove? Because I really admire stuff like Sharon Blaine does. Can I do it? Absolutely not. You know what I mean? That's just not my strength. But I can be mesmerized, and you mentioned it earlier, by watching someone execute the process. And there's a few go-tos that I go to. Is there anything that you'd want to share with us that you find really exciting?
There's one hairdresser that I follow a lot of. You might know him, Clive Allwright. I do. Yes,
Yeah,
I've always sort of also.
Thank you.
You also give me a lot of inspiration. Pleasure.
Yeah.
I've always liked sort of, like I love Fidel Sassoon and their haircuts. They are phenomenal, but I do find them a little bit painful and time consuming. So I generally like those sort of very quick, funky, and well executed haircuts. People like Bertram Kay from the UK. I also Robert Cromings from America, the Scottish guy. I love his work. It's very edgy. He does a lot of razor work. I also enjoy working with the razor as well. And there's a couple of other people out there that I don't really want to name names because they are on artistic teams from other companies. But I think at the moment there's also, it's not just like a few selected people out there that have these skills. There's, with social media opening up the way it has, there are so many talented hairdressers out there, even people in South Africa, and Australia. I've seen a lot of amazing work lately. Names I don't even remember. Faces, I'm very good with faces. I've always been terrible with names. You'll have to be coming to me at least 20 years as a client. Yeah. Generally, I'm always asking my assistant, what's that client's name there quickly? Yeah, so I'm terrible with names, but if you're going through social media, there's so many talented hairdressers out there at the moment. It's actually phenomenal. And things are the sort of, I'm going to say the boundaries are being broken every single day. And I really enjoy that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, I love the fact that social media is the great kind of equalizer as far as just giving everyone a platform. It used to be back in the day that, there were the same people got the platform all the time, but now everyone has the platform of social media and they can post their work, and there is some stunning work going on out there by so many different hairdressers, and we all have things that we do really well, and to be able to see those strengths is fantastic. Sorry, Clive, you were going to say? I
was going to say what's just coming to mind, and I couldn't agree with you more, is Natalie Ann. She's found a niche, and she does hair like blows me away. Like I can't do what she does. But she's found a niche that she's really good at, and she's just built an empire online, very similar to the United States president. He's got just come out from nowhere, just blown the usual channels, and that's what I think is it can be incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
US president part.
Yes, no, he's not incredible. So Chase, tell us about the type of colour work that you're currently seeing a lot of in South Africa, doing in the salon. Do you have any particular favourite, sort of shades, formulas, cocktails, toners that you and the team are working with at the moment?
So we're obviously doing, South Africa used to be a little bit behind the rest of the world a couple of years ago, but I think with social media, we're definitely back on par. We might be sort of a season behind Europe, obviously with us being a season behind Europe. But blondes-wise, we're doing a lot of stretched roots, blended blondes, pinky blondes, very silvery blondes. Blonde is still my favorite thing to do in the salon because it takes skill to get it correct. It takes skill. We're doing a lot of, like say, root stretching, color blending. When I first started working with the Muk colors, it took me a little bit to get my head wrapped around the toners. Now I'm loving the toners, and the world is your oyster. You can mix up anything you want to. So we're playing around with a lot of sort of pinky toners, blue toners, even chucking in a little bit of mahogany into my toner every now and then, great. That's what I do like about the Muk range is with my Muk colors, I almost feel like an artist with a palette in front of me. I can mix whatever I want. Everything is mixed on its own base, so it can be intermixed into each other. Whereas for years I was always told, you can't mix this, you can't mix that. Now I can do whatever I like. So the rules are being broken every day in my shop at the moment. The technical side of things, I wouldn't say anything because that's probably not right. But as hairdressers, we will always try and break the rules. If you tell us, if you guys as a technical side tell us you can't do this, we're going to do it anyway. You know, we want to see why we can't do that. Yeah. Like I've said before, hairdressers don't make mistakes. We make new discoveries. So yeah, it could either be an discovery or a discovery.
Well, so, either way, there's an outcome, right? You either learn from it or you've just discovered something new. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
either you've kept a client for life, or you've just moved one out through the door.
Yeah, that's okay. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that we did have the pleasure of you visiting our great cricketing nation, when you visited us in February. Just was there one thing that you stands out from your trip? And not necessarily. I know you've touched on a few things with obviously regarding the Muk family, but is there one highlight that you could say that you took away that you thought of us, you know, that you thought of being at your time in Australia? That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, there was a couple of things that really did hit home in Australia. Firstly, you know, obviously coming from the country where I do, where things are a little bit, life is a bit hectic here. I enjoyed the sense of freedom there. Even though the one weekend I spent the weekend in Melbourne City, it didn't matter what time of the day or night, I could walk around there and feel safe. It felt like a feeling of like unity. You know, the people were all together. Everybody was looking out for each other. I loved how clean the country was, how organized everything worked. The roads worked. The people obey the laws. You know, that sort of thing. And then obviously when it came to Muk, I can just see that. No, I really enjoyed it there because I can see that firstly, when I was talking about the Muk brand itself is sort of cost effective, is that I can also see, and speaking to Judi and doing all that education, is that no cent was spared in developing the brand. So that's also something that really hits to me, that even though it's an affordable brand, every expense has been taken for them to be the best on the market. And that's something that really stuck inside my heart, and I will keep about the brand.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, and it's very, very much the case that you know, the reason that you can play and have, you know, talking about, you know, the art palette. I love that description of the color portfolio. Is because everything has been very much sort of designed from the ground up with. On its individual base, and to hear about the difference that makes for you in the salon. And yeah, definitely, you know, you need to stick to your technical mixing ratios, Chase, and listen to Candy on what you need to be doing, because there's reasons why that we have those recommendations in place. But as far as being able to play, you know, it's a range that does give you the ability to play, and the team as well. So to hear that. The experience of, you know, you guys have you know, are pretty new to Muk still, really. Was it Feb last year? No, it was December last year that you changed over.
It was December last year.
Yeah. And to be kind of at the point where you're, you know, being as creative as you are, you know, that's a great thing to be hearing about the team and the way that you're playing with the colour, and what you're getting out of it, you know, and you're not scared to mix. That's so good to hear, and it's a great experience for creative people to have that kind of palette to work with.
Definitely, I'm loving every minute of it. Definitely.
Yeah, fantastic. So that's the transition for all of your team. You know, that's sort of been good for them too. They've all sort of like taken it on and embraced it and are mixing and playing the same as you are?
For my team, they're loving the color. For me as well, when we originally made the transition, for me it was very important that my staff were on board with me, because I've learned in the past, if I take on something that I like and they don't, it's not going to help me as a brand, you know.
Yeah.
Because Chase Hairdressing is a brand. It's not just about me. But my staff have absolutely loved the transition. And they've also liked it that we've been able to make up our own colors. You know, I mean, never in my lifetime did I think I could take a concentrate and mix it into a high lifter and make my own color. But we are doing these kind of things, you know. So the staff are loving it. Even my basin staff that wash hair, you know, they're loving the fact that they're using the Muk products at the basin and the treatments, how it makes the hair feel, how easy it is to come out of the hair. So, you know, every single aspect about the product at the moment, I haven't found a fault.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
That's awesome. I was just thinking as well, when you were saying earlier on, you love the freedom of walking around Melbourne at any time, day or night. I think half of Melbourne wants to do that right now, don't they? You're not allowed out after 8 o'clock, which is unfortunate. But talking of rules and advice, what's the best piece of advice that anyone's ever given you? And that can be hairdressing or in life.
Jeez, that caught me off guard there.
I mean, my mum told me. Sorry, carry on.
Your mum told you what? Wipe twice.
Always go out with clean underwear. You never know, you might get run over, you know.
I think one of the best pieces of advice that's ever been given to me in life is don't take life too seriously. You know, we're only here once. We need to enjoy our lives. My grandfather always used to tell me that you're here for a good time, not a long time. So you need to enjoy life. You know, obviously you need to work hard because that's why we've been put on this planet, unfortunately. But yeah, the best piece of advice I could give to anybody is we're here for a good time, not a long time. So enjoy life.
Yeah, I think times like this, I think we can all focus on gratitude, you know what I mean, of all the good things that we've got going on in our life. Even though we have been dealt a rough set of cards, it is time to reflect and say, well, we have got a lot of things to be grateful for. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I see out of this whole sort of Corona thing is just a little bit of an awakening for us as well. You know, we need to sort of realize that we can live with less in our lives, how important family is, how important being outdoors and actually being able to walk and train and see people and visit people and, you know, go to the pub and have a drink, those kind of things that have been taken away from us. We now realize that we took it for granted. We really did.
Yeah, that's absolutely so true. We, 2020 has been quite the year, as we've touched on already, and I think we've all experienced it very much in different ways in the different spaces and different countries and different states even that we're in, and it's still ongoing. I think from what we've seen, in Australia, it looks like it's been pretty tough in South Africa, and I think you guys have really done it tougher than a lot of other countries. And, you know, even just that forced lockdown for that extended 15, 16 weeks or whatever it was that you guys had, that must have been very challenging, Chase, for you guys over there and as an industry. And how are you going now? How's the industry going? How are you going? What's it like being back in the salon?
Okay, so yeah, obviously things are a little bit different. As from today, which is the 18th of August, we have been moved into alert level lockdown 2. So we are actually allowed to go to the bottle store today and go buy alcohol. So after this, I'm going to go join the queue. We're also we've had a total ban here on cigarettes, tobacco, vaping liquids, anything like that. So that only from today again is allowed to be open, even though the market's been flooded with illegal cigarettes. This is Africa at the end of the day. But definitely, the beginning of the year before we hit COVID lockdown and all of that sort of thing, things were really starting to look up for us in the hairdressing industry in South Africa. Things were running smoothly. And then obviously we were closed down for 15 weeks. So it's been a very tough time. We've been back in the salon now. I think it's about 2.5 months. Myself, luckily enough, I am fully booked for weeks in advance, but I can see with my staff, things are very, very different out there. People are very scared to go out because of the corona. in South Africa, that more than 35% of the salons through the country have shut their doors for good. So there's a lot of people that have lost their work, not just in the salons, but in the industry. I think we're sitting at something like 40 or 44% unemployment in the country at the moment. So a lot of our clients have lost their jobs. A lot of people have been put on short time. A lot of people have been taken salary cuts. So, it has like a domino effect or a snowball effect right through. So things are a little bit tough at the moment, but I'm hoping that as now we've moved into another sort of lockdown alert, all the restaurants are allowed to be open, the gyms are allowed to be opened, alcohol's allowed to be served and sold, cigarettes and tobacco. So I'm hoping that in the next week or so, we're going to see a little bit of a turnaround, but business has been tough. It really has been tough. It's going to take a while for us to get back into things. And but I can see the clients that are coming in, because we have a little bit more time with each client. We are taking a little bit more time with that client and trying to build up their average spend. And I don't see disaster. I see definitely good things coming out of this. And hopefully we'll find a lot more clients, because 35% of the salons have closed down. I will be looking for some more staff come towards December time. And we've been in survival mode for a good couple of weeks now, but I'm still blessed enough to at least have opened the doors of my salon, still blessed enough to have at least look after my staff during the lockdown. And we're just going to continue trying to push. It's a very, very tough industry to be in at the moment, but only the strong will survive, and we are surviving. So
yeah, well, and just massive congratulations to you for surviving. It's just it's been unbelievable to go through that. And yeah, look, it's tough in places, but I just think you've had it tougher. And I know that our thoughts and heart has been with you all. Just sort of watching what's been going on over there. It's been really tough.
I mean, I'm still processing it in my head. Kudos to you, mate. And you know what? And to have such a positive outlook on things when, 44% unemployment, that's insane. I mean, that's tough, but it's more than tough. But I'm just processing like the fact that, your liquor stores, or you couldn't smoke for that period of time. And I did hear or read somewhere that during that time you couldn't even get online deliveries. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. So you couldn't
even shop
not
and
alcohol,
get stuff,
cigarettes, and yeah. We're very limited to what we can get. I can also see now that when you're going into the shops now, because of no imports coming in, our shelves are looking a little bit bare when it comes to hardware and groceries and that sort of thing. So yeah.
That is unbelievable, and I think that's definitely food for thought for me. I'm still processing it. When I hear statements like that, I'm one of these people that just will just, take that to pieces. And, I was thinking as you were saying it, I'm like, wow, that's like half of South Africa just got their 90-day AA token. You know what I mean? You've just gone to the first step. I mean, wow, it's just unbelievable. Now, talking of, obviously you've had a lot of time, and like the UK and the US, I mean, I think California's in its second shutdown. But what can you do today that you couldn't do a year ago in regards to, I'll give you an example. I couldn't do this a year ago as doing a Zoom. So have you learned something in the shutdown and we mentioned last week on the show, a lot of the UK hairdressers learned to make sourdough bread. So what have you learned that you couldn't do, say, at the beginning of the year?
Well, definitely during the lockdown, because we were sort of limited to what we could get. Myself and my lovely girlfriend, we actually did a lot of baking, cooking, making things I've never done before. So I learned to make some really good breads, some really good, nice sort of sweet dishes and that sort of thing. Also, the marketing of our business and the social media has always been sort of the role of somebody else that I pay to do that. I took on that role myself during the lockdown. So I'm not the best when it comes to anything sort of computerized. Even the Zoom meeting was set up by Candy for me on her laptop. So I've learned to do quite a bit of social media. I've learned how to interact with my clients during this time. Also, I managed to get myself a permit where I could sell product to my clients and anything inside the salon. We were actually doing take-home color kits. So instead of my clients going out and buying a box color from the supermarket or the chemist, what we were doing is we've got all their colors on card, which I know is not ideal or professional, but I would rather be mixing a color for my clients to take home, explaining to them how to use it, rather than them going and using a box color that I had to then fix up. So that kept me quite busy during the day. I ended up selling, I think, about nearly 500 color kits to my clients, and then sending them little videos on how to apply it, that sort of thing. Obviously, blondes was a no-go. So it was mainly for my clients for root touch-ups. So we learned to do things a little bit different. Also, this is Africa, so you have to learn to survive. So I've learned a lot. I also learned a lot that family is extremely important. I've always known in my heart that my family are important, but during this time of lockdown, the people that I saw every single day of my life were my family, my kids, my girlfriend and her kids. And then I've also just realized that how important they are to me. I could be living in a tent down by the local river here and have my family and be happy. I don't need to have materialistic things. So I think definitely this time has taught me to be more simplistic and to also just be more grateful for the things I do have in my life, and also very grateful that we were still able to open the doors of our salon.
Yeah,
congratulations,
amazing.
mate.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, Chase. That again, it's just that sort of being able to take a really challenging situation and to come out the other side and to be able to kind of say that kind of thing and be grateful for your family and the lessons is really phenomenal. So yeah, that's so inspiring. And talking about sort of minimising, if you had to choose only 2 Muk products, what would be your can't live without 2 favourite Muk products?
Okay, well, the 20-in-1 would be my number 1 product, because if you could drink it, I haven't tried, maybe good for the wrinkles, but I can tell.
No,
you're looking very wrinkle-free there, Clive.
I know.
So that is one of my favorite products. And then a product which we didn't have in South Africa until I came to visit you guys and made sure that we brought it in would be your 6-in-1 working spray.
Yeah.
I love that product. It's got so many uses and it's so versatile that I don't even really use hairspray much anymore. I use that as my hairspray, my texture spray, my fixing spray, my anti-static spray. So those would probably be my 2 favorite products, but it is a bit hard to put them down into only 2.
Yeah.
So, but that would be my 2 favorites.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing, Jude? That's 3 lives in a row.
I know.
Where the guest artist has all picked the Hot Muk 6-in-1 spray.
Yeah, I know. It's a winner.
It's a winner, definitely.
Talking of hairspray, actually, when I went to South Africa, my models kept saying this word that I thought they wanted more lacquer on their hair, but it's in a South African term, isn't it? Is it rude or not? Is it a rude thing?
No, it's not rude. The word lacquer is slang for really nice. So something really lacquer.
Yeah. They're like, how's it? Lacquer. And I was thinking, she wants more hairspray. So it'd be an easy one to say, like, lacquer. Yeah, anyway, that was awesome.
Good.
Mate, you are truly inspiring to listen to, really are. And congratulations on not, as you said, surviving, but hustling as well. And you got to do what you got to do to get through these times. And, I think obviously Melbourne's in the middle of a shutdown right now. And I think when this goes to air, they'll be sort of halfway through it. But I just give a thought for 16 weeks shutdown. I mean, that's
I know.
We wouldn't have survived that. And so congratulations to you. Anyway, we have now got to that time where it's final 4. So I'm just going to ask you a couple I've changed the questions this week because I did steal some from other podcasts, but so we're just going to ask you 4 last random questions. And they're kind of questions that I think I would want someone to ask me. So the first one is, where's your favorite place on earth? It's favorite place that you've ever been to?
There's a place in South Africa called Transkei. It's sort of a province of South Africa. It's very rural, very untouched. They call it the Wild Coast. The energy and the peacefulness down there, and sort of just feeling like I'm living in the Garden of Eden. That would probably be my place, Transkei.
And where is that?
That is in the Eastern Cape, along the shoreline, obviously, of South Africa.
Because one in my top 5 is a place in South Africa called George, which is sort of down towards Cape Town, and that was one of the most magical places I ever saw in my life. I thought it was just mind blowing. Now, where would you like to visit most? Like, if on your bucket list, if there's some place where's the number one place you definitely want to go to in the world?
I'd probably say Mexico. I've seen a lot of like Cancun, Mexico, for the beauty and for the party vibe and for the people and probably for some of the tequila, you know. But definitely, Cancun, Mexico is on my bucket list.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is good. I do remember briefly going there a few times. You know, as you say, the tequila had a lot to do with that. But no, it is a magical, just like South Africa. It's an incredible place. What are you most grateful for in your life so far?
There's many things to be grateful for, but I think the biggest thing that I'm grateful for is that, you know, there are many, many hairdressers in our industry, but there's very few that get to be global artists, people that get to travel, people that get to meet other famous hairdressers and go to international hair shows and that. So I think I'm very grateful for what I have achieved in my career and where I've gotten to. And I still definitely foresee a lot more happening on that side of things, but being able to taste the side of hairdressing that I have been lucky enough to taste.
Yeah, that's incredible, mate. Yeah, it's good. Now, this is a question that comes up all the time when it comes to music in the salon. Do you have a current playlist that is, you know, your go-to playlist in the salon? We've all got different tastes. It is throughout the beginning of time since I started hairdressing. I remember, you know, when it was on cassette, people would fight over what cassette would go in next. So is there a playlist that you love to play in your salon? And if so, what is it?
Okay, that's a good question, because it also depends on who gets to the high five first, you know, because obviously each staff member has their own sort of selection of music. But because we have a clientele of ranging from sort of teenager to sort of quite mature adult, you need to have something that's sort of going to be light on the ear of everybody. So definitely the majority of the music we play in the shop is your Café Del Mar. So very sort of relaxed type of vibe. But obviously when the salon's a little bit busier, I like to be a little bit more upbeat. And I must be honest, we listen to, if we're not listening to that, our second most listened to tracks in the salon would be the 80s playlist. Because the clients sing along. Even the youngsters, I find, know all the 80s music. It creates a good vibe in the salon.
Of course.
The clients sing along. It's good memories and everybody reminisces. So yeah, definitely Café Del Mar. And then the 80s. The 80s for me that's my music.
Yeah, it's ours too, isn't it, Jude?
Sure is. Yeah.
Actually,
can't get enough.
Actually, talking of music, I went to a place down near Cape Town that's called, is it Camps Bay? They have on the beach where the two oceans sort of come together.
Yes.
And they have lots of beach bars along there with lots of cool DJs. It was a very core memory of mine. Fantastic times.
Yeah. Yes, no, definitely.
Awesome stuff.
Wow, Chase, I feel like it's been such a great insight into South Africa for all of our Muk family this morning on our Clive Live-ish. And it's just been so great for them to get to know more about you and what you're about and what South Africa's about and the industry over there and the COVID situation. And we've covered a lot of ground today. So we're so looking forward to seeing your education. And I think everyone watching your education now, having gotten to know you a little bit better, will enjoy it even more. So thank you so much for taking the time. And thanks to Candy for bringing the computer and setting you up. And, big love to all the team over there as well. Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Clive.
Absolutely, Chase. And I'm so impressed with myself. We got through that whole interview. I was talking to Judi about what we were going to talk about. And I said, we can always talk about cricket. And she said, don't you dare. And incidentally, I don't know if you've seen it, Judi, there's a TV commercial on at the moment for Shane Warne fragrance. No, I'm totally serious. It came on the other day. It's Shane Warne 23, which apparently was his number when he played. You familiar with Shane Warne, Chase?
Yes,
the bowler? Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's Shane Warne. It's a black and white sort of sultry commercial for his fragrance. And he's putting his cufflinks on and he's got his rug done on his hair. And next to his fragrance is this old cricket ball, just like this one. Like as if you'd have that on your dressing table. And my first thoughts were, my God, how many old bits of leather do you want to get in one frame? Because he's been out in the sun a little bit. But it got me thinking, I don't know what they're insinuating with this old cricket ball on his dressing room table. But, I was thinking maybe if you sprayed it on your balls, it might increase your chances of getting a wicket. And I mean cricket balls, obviously, not, But I was like, oh my God. So if you dip into Chemist Warehouse, then you can treat yourself, if you're a cricketer, into the Shane Warne fragrance. And I'll leave it at that. But just before we go, I want to say a personal thank you to McGregor. He did an incredible job last week on editing all the little bits and pieces into our show. I know he's going to do an amazing job on this one. So thank you, mate. And thank you for all the phone calls that I do when I'm panicking, where I can't get a background and all that kind of stuff. You are my rock, my support. Our director is in my ear telling me to wrap it up. But anyway, and obviously Scott and Janelle for steering the ship once again. And everyone in Melbourne. The good news is you're halfway through, right? Is that right, Jude?
Yeah.
When this goes
I don't know. We've lost track of days and months and weeks, and who knows where we are. But yes, we're all trying to do the right thing and get to the other side, because that's what we want to do.
Well, hopefully you've enjoyed today's show, and we'll be back next week with some more guests. But we thoroughly enjoying this, aren't we, Jude? This is good.
We are. It's great.
So thanks to everyone out there, and the message just stays the same. We love you all, and do the right thing, wear a mask, wash your hands, all that kind of stuff. But listen, until then, stay safe. Lots of love. Chase, if you want to stay on the line, we'll send you a bill. All right? Thank you. All right, guys, take care.
You guys, take care.